Little Girl Lost is an incredible film, very frustrating at times, but absolutely worth watching. This was released in 1988. It's directed by Sharon Miller, written by Ann Beckett, and we have a cast including Tess Harper, Frederic Forrest, and Marie Martin. And this is apparently based on a true story. I couldn't actually find anything about that really. So if anybody knows anything about that, please feel free to share. But it's about a little girl who is in foster care, and she's been with the foster family for pretty much her entire life. And every time she has to have visitation with her father, she cries, she has bad dreams, and near the beginning of the film, we find out that her father might be touching her in inappropriate ways. And I say her father, but she actually refers to her foster parents as her mother and father, but her biological father seems to be doing inappropriate things. And of course, her foster mother raises this immediately. Nobody cares. She still has to go and see her father. And I won't say what happens after that, but it gets even worse with regards to people looking out for Tella's best interests and believing Tella, and it is so infuriating. And I do know that if this were to happen now in the UK, this is obviously, well, I say obviously, it is set in the States, but if this were to happen now in the UK, as soon as a child made those accusations, visitation would stop until there were further investigations. But in this film, and I'm assuming this is accurate for the time in the States, the accusation was made, nothing changed. There was no investigation. And that is so frustrating. So I do take some comfort from knowing that if this were to happen now in the UK, this is not how it would play out, assuming everybody's playing by the rules. And I'd like to think that in the States this would be the case as well. If anybody, again, can provide any further information about that, please feel free to do so. But if this is based on a true story and this is how things played out, I really struggle to get on board with that, because it's just an absolutely horrific story where the people who are meant to look out for Tella, apart from her foster family, really weren't doing that. And apparently the true story began, it spans a couple of years, but the true story began in 1979. That's basically all I could find out about it. And even though that's a considerable amount of time ago now, it's still frustrating to think that this could ever have possibly happened. And I believe it happened. And I really feel like that gave it an emotional level that I wasn't expecting. When I was watching it, I wasn't aware that it was a true story. It was only when I started to watch it I thought, please tell me this isn't based on truth. And apparently it is. I don't want to say too much more about what happens because it's a very emotional, frustrating, challenging watch, but very powerful and absolutely worth it. And I don't want to give away any of the, well, shocking moments, frustrating moments. It's a very well written story and very emotional and very, very well done. If it sounds like your kind of story, absolutely give it a watch. Not only is the story good, but the performances are really great. The pacing of the narrative is great. And as I said, it is apparently based on a true story. And if anybody knows anything else about that, please feel free to share. I wish it wasn't based on truth, but as I said, unfortunately, I believe that this kind of thing would have happened back then. Hopefully not now, but either way, Little Girl Lost is a very strong film. Not the easiest of watches, but definitely worth it.